Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're so glad you're here. You're in the right place at the right time, and your soul is welcome here.
That's right. Your soul is welcome here. Good morning. Oh,
the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be in my soul. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. And your souls are welcome, and all our souls are welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I am meant to be. I'm in my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. And I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message. Come on, let me see your hands up. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. Woo. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. Woo. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. And I'm here. Okay, you got the last word.
All right. A mighty enthusiastic group here this morning. Reverend Deborah, good to see you.
Is holy. And in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in mosques, temples, churches, stone circles, and of course the beautiful online or in person. We especially want to welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Every one of us is here by our electronic devices, and please refrain from flash photography during the service.
Can never leave us or forsake us. And this presence that is beyond our human understanding and even beyond our thoughts, our words, and our actions. So we look at whatever quality that comes up for us. It may be peace, harmony, wholeness, creativity. And we take one of those qualities with us. And as we do, we begin to become open and receptive to all the other qualities that sent you. And each of us are sent and are coming from this one presence and one power. So we're grateful for anything else we could imagine. And so we're grateful and thankful as we go forth, amplify, let it be. Amen. To transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we carry out that God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God, and what we call the season for nonviolence. And that is honoring the work of Mahatma Gandhi. We have someone during that time to share a principle from a season for nonviolence.
I'm aware that forgiveness is a gift that I give to myself, and then out to each person who may have wronged me. I bring peace to myself and others. Love is always at hand. I choose today to consciously replace angry thoughts and old grudges with love, serenity, and forgiveness. Release my attachments to old woundings, and I bless the world with peace of mind and love in my heart. And here's what I was reminded. Sometimes I hurt people. Sometimes people are going to hurt me. Oftentimes, we only reach deeper within our hearts to understand the situation from a bigger, but that hurt can deepen and have negative impacts for ourselves, how we see others, how we treat others, and how we love. I'd like to end with the following quote. Forgiveness is a radical act of setting your soul free, holds the key.
Thank you, Tony Splendorio. And any birthdays in the month of March, we invite you to please stand in the month March
My birthday and
birthdays.
yours. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday day.
And of course, we want to thank Shirley Brown. I know her name. Good news, Wow Wednesday is back. Now, some people don't know what WOW stands for, and it stands for Wisdom, Oneness, and Whimsy. So look for a lot of that in the coming months. The next are going to be presenting the Ramadan Challenge, and they will have a challenge, and so they will talk about Ramadan. They will have questions and answers, and so it's going to...
I know. Well, someone told me that service is probably the highest way to accelerate our spiritual growth. And if you have a calling to be of service in this particular capacity, we explore the possibility of being our board of trustees. We invite you to do so. You know, greater than that, and that's to help us grow spiritually. And you definitely have an opportunity to grow spiritually as a life. So we invite you to be part of that. And if you're interested, 30. So we invite you, if you want more information, to come to that information session, and it'll help fulfill our purpose here at Spiritual Life Center if that is a calling for you. Now, if the board doesn't call you, well, there's also another opportunity you can be of service, because we recognize that prayer is the cornerstone of unity and Spiritual Life Center. So you have an opportunity to be part of our chaplaincy program, and the chaplains hold sacred service for the entire community in a deep and a special way. So if you're interested in becoming a chaplain, which is really a great way to serve and to grow as well spiritually, applications are now open if you feel called to at this time. So I think you can find information by stopping at the prayer chaplain table that's also in our courtyard.
And now for something completely different. Daylight saving time starts next week. So put your clocks ahead.
People are gasping.
I gasped the whole time on daylight saving time. So set your clocks an hour ahead, and if you get here late for the 9 o'clock, there's lots of coffee, and then you can stay for the 11. So we'll also, of course, be sending out probably a reminder during the week.
I think every year some folks doesn't hear this announcement. They're coming and people are leaving, and they said, "What is going on?" So anyway, one of the things that we do as a collective community is make a contribution to organizations in our community that are making a positive contribution to our community, and we do so through our Community Giving Partner Program. And this morning we're going to have Denise Holmes, who's part of that team, to introduce our Community Giving Partner for this month. So welcome, Denise.
I keep tripping this morning. Tripping out. Anyway, good morning to everybody, and I'm a proud member of the Community Giving Committee. We used to be the Tithing Committee because our church gives out every month, and it sure rolls around quickly these days. But anyway, we ask that if you have someone to nominate, we're getting more nominations from the community, and we love it. We're getting some really awesome non-sitting up here. She'll be up in a second, but now a little background. And there's nothing better than good neighbors. But we're not neighbors now, but we... And she worked at Christian Brothers, and now she is the head of... as a teacher, I just want one last thing to say is that the students, when they see art on the agenda and sparkling eyes, everybody just lights up. It's Cagley.
About when you were a child or a young person, how music or moment in your life where it's buried into your. And in California, only 1 in 5 school children get any art. They have 15 or 20 different languages spoken, and yet they don't have art. The Sacramento Arts was started in 2019, and our vision is arts every day for every child in every school. So we were formed after a study was done by the mayor's office and many community leaders to look at the creative economy and arts and culture, and realized if we don't start with the youngest of our citizens, then they won't be the future creatives or the future patrons of our arts. And so for many of you, I'm sure you go to a theater program and you look around and you go, ooh, okay, what's going to happen in 30 years? Will there be patrons for those things as well? The other aspect of arts is the academic benefits. So there are national studies, local studies that show that with arts on a regular basis, they're more likely to graduate from school, they're more likely to go to college, and there's the whole social emotional element. And especially after the pandemic, when children are coming out of social isolation for 2 years, the arts can heal. So our role is twofold. One is advocacy. So there are 14 school districts in Sacramento County that serve 250,000 children in the public school systems. And so we work with those school districts and stakeholders and leaders to educate the board members, the parents, the administrators about why they need to have permanent funding in their school budgets for arts education on a regular basis. The other aspect is we do fundraising, and we work to fund arts programs in the schools, working with the County Office of Education and other stakeholders. And finally, we're going to be launching just in a couple weeks, 2 weeks from today, I'll be glad when it's over, is a program called Heroes of Arts Education. And teachers are not recognized for the sacrifice they make. So we're doing at the Sophia Heroes of Arts Education Gala, where we'll be recognizing outstanding arts teachers and leaders in the community. And that will be an annual event to really shine a light on arts teachers in our community. So thank you so much for your generous support. There's some brochures outside if you'd like to pick one up. I have a couple copies of our annual report that show some highlights of things we've done in the last several years to fund and advocate for arts education. So thank you so much, and blessings to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Before you leave, and as I was listening to you, I was saying, wow, I really was thinking about how much arts makes a difference in life.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have it, how much we would be missing. So on behalf of Spiritual Life Center, we accept this $1,000 check to support you in the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Very much.
What is it that you say on the bottom of your email, art without,
Yes.
life without art?
The earth without art would just be eh.
Yeah, we don't want to life.
So remember, there are many activities that foster transformation in our lives here at Spiritual Life Center. Check out our weekly small group and other offerings, and to discover all of the happenings at SLC, go to our website, and you can also peruse the bulletin board out in the courtyard, and of course, always go have a chat with the lovely ladies at the hub, and they can tell you lots of things, probably not everything though.
Well, at this time, I invite any of our board members or chaplains that are here this morning to please stand. And the chaplains wear the white stoles, and not only do they hold the high watch and prayer throughout the week for Spiritual Life Center, but each Sunday after the service, if you have a prayer need that you would like them to hold the high watch for you for, they're available to pray with you immediately after the service. Or if you just have something you want to celebrate and you just want to add more energy to it, they'll be more than happy to celebrate the good things in life as well. So we thank the chaplains for their work. And our board members do a great deal of work behind the scenes, bringing their time, their talent, and skills to help us move forward as a collective community, and we thank them for their service. And if you have any particular questions of Spiritual Life Center for our board, they'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So we thank them for their contribution to our community.
And we love to greet our newcomers. To raise your hand. And one way to do that is to fill out the welcome card. Now that welcome card is available on our website. You can go to there, fill it out, submit it, and we will get back to you. If you're here in person and you raise your hand, we will give you the card. Fill it out, take it to the welcome table in the courtyard for a special gift and a very warm welcome.
So if anyone's here for the very first time, we invite you to raise your hand. Any first-timers here today? We have our wonderful community partners here this morning, so we can give her one of our cards if she can fill out if she chooses to do so, to stay in contact with what's going on at Breath. So with that, I invite folks not only to greet our newcomer, but to greet one another in a manner that feels comfortable for you and just say, you are marvelous and glad you are here.
Please stand and join us in singing our group song, I'm Choosing Heaven Today. I'm choosing compassion, I'm choosing love, and I'm choosing joy. Let's sing about it.
Heaven today, I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm choosing love today and passion. I choose compassion today, and I choose compassion, and I choose compassion today, and I start my day with joy. I'm walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing joy today. Let's go back to heaven. I'm walking the road of heaven right now, singing. I'm choosing heaven. I walk the road.
Please be seated.
So I invite us all now to take a nice deep breath together. Is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone. Cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. And now as we continue to celebrate, acknowledge the season for nonviolence, we're going to do this chant that I wrote for that.
Star of peace in every deed and word I speak. This world, see the light of this world. And star of peace in every deed and word I speak. See the light of this world increase. Of peace, all harmful thoughts within me. See the light of this world, the light of this world. Yes, I am a radiant star.
I am a radiant star of peace. You are a radiant star of peace. We are radiant stars of peace. Let it calm your mind, calm your body, With each breath now, allow yourself to release any tensions into the sanctuary of your heart. And as you relax, your consciousness begins to drift up and float into the ethers. Suddenly clouds cover the sun and it starts to rain very hard. Water pours down and you are quickly soaked to the skin. And so you dash into the nearest building. You feel soggy and wet, but the warm air inside is warm and comforting. In the dim light, you notice that this building is a wide cylinder. And as you look up, you see 7 stained glass windows set in the walls around the circumference. And that they're the same height as a platform. And the platform, and so curious, you begin to step onto the ramp and climb. As you rise higher, you can see. And then as you reach the first window, you see that it is made up of every possible shade of red you can imagine. All the different pieces of stained glass. And then yellow, green, blue, violet, each emitting deep resonant vibrations of their colors streaming to the middle of the platform. All of the colors converge right into your heart center. Blue, indigo, and violet stream into you, and you are warm and dry. The lights continue to flow into your center until they blend into the pure, clears your mind, dissolves, and you bask in this light, in the silence. To recede. Yet you feel no loss because you know that these lights all reside within you and you can call upon them whenever you wish. With a prayer of gratitude, you turn and walk down the ramp and out the door. The sun is shining. It is warm and clear. You are filled with joy, blessing. Oh, my beloved, you are the essence of the pure light of God. You might even say that you are a holy sun catcher. You might even say you're a holy light transmitter. This is your gift to the world. Remember this.
I have searched the whole world over, look, destination out of sight. I lost my will to fight, so I just surrender, raining its poison arrows till I learn to shine your light on me, sun catcher. Now beauty be free, sun catcher. I light this candle symbolize my love eternal. Now I choose my life in every moment, find the stillness beautiful, even in my darkest comfort. Illuminate me in your radiance, no more sorrow. Catcher, now beauty's all I see. Sun catcher, happiness is down on me. I'm sheltered always with comfort. Illuminate me, shine your light on me. Sun catcher, beauty's all I see. Sun catcher, so is dancing through me. Sun catcher, shine your light on me. Sun catcher, so grateful to be free. Sun catcher, happy.
Thank you for shining your light on us this morning, as well as our musicians and problems going on in your mind. There was maybe at least a moment that you forgot all about them, and you were just in the here and the now, and that's what music can do for us. We're so blessed to Sun Catcher, shine your light on me. The New Thought movement, of which includes Unity and Spiritual Life Center, is what I call our meta interpretation. And there's a way that we can apply for our own spiritual growth. You know, as I always say, if people were to list 1,000 things that would become in my life, minister would not even be on the list. Because a lot of people used to make the Bible, in my perspective, it was used for religious abuse. But it's one of the great tools that we can use for our spiritual course, our spiritual growth. With some people to give us what it means. So anyway, I want to start out with just about Nicodemus. And Nicodemus was a Pharisee, but Nicodemus in this story, in the middle of the glory of God, and it was evidenced by the wonderful things that were happening around him as an intellectual. He didn't really have much spiritual understanding, and so he came to see Jesus at night, and at night meant the spiritual demonstrations that he saw happening in the Jesus snuck in the middle of the night because he didn't want anyone to know. He couldn't be seen with this man. So he asked Jesus, what's the deal? And he says, when we talk about the kingdom of God, we're not talking about a place. We're really talking about that heaven that's here. A radical shift in your perception, and unless there's a movement in your awareness, discerned. He was talking about having a radical transformation. You must change. You must have a different point of view. You have to shift your perspective so you can be in tune with this ever-expanding good that we call heaven. Happen within you. You have to have a shift in our previous self, beyond our previous self. And sometimes our transformations, a new dream for ourselves. We understand when she was singing about dream catcher and I had just come out of a drug rehab center. I had to do a lot of self-forgiveness when Tony was. If we think it's somebody else, we forgive ourselves for having a misconception about them. And I remember I was coming from some mundane job, going home that day, and then my experience. And I think I shared that, there was no separation between me and anything else, and everything seemed to be different. And in that moment, I had a transformational experience. It was shocking to me. It was so shocking, I didn't really know what to say to other people because they would say, okay, that's interesting. Let me tell you about my problems. Anyway, there was a transformational experience. I was different. But most transformations don't necessarily happen in a flash transformation. There's probably just a bunch more than 3 talking, and at the same time, they were trying to say guidelines, and they open mind. There's a story about Ram that she had at her community, and people are asking her, well, how did you do it? You everything. And she was talking about the idea of having transformation for anyone who's seeking to grow spiritually in options without any prejudgments. And this mindset can help you and I learn more effectively. I think when we have an open mind, we release our attachment to rigidly held beliefs. You can't tell them nothing. But if we have that open mind, we allow ourselves to tap into universe new insights. We're open to receiving new ideas. And that can lead us to a deep, kind of tells the essence about what the open mind is all about. Is there was a Zen master, knowledge that he had acquired over the years in his life. And the Zen master listened attentively and politely. Had tea in it, and he began to pour tea into a cup. The cup is overflowing. You can't pour any more into this. And the master replied, perceptions. How can I teach you Zen unless you first empty? The most important thing is to open up ourselves to a transformation. Captain Schultz. And he said something to the effect, I know nothing. Nothing. And then we have, as the instructor said, the opportunity to make us available to unlimited possibilities around us. And then your purpose. Such revelations happen when our mind is open, as I said, and not rigidly attached to our previously held beliefs. This is what Nicodemus did, actually. He recognized something extraordinary going on in the camp where Jesus was, and he had to set aside his highfalutin learning. But he asked the question, how can I get into this ever-expanding good? How can I get what you got? There is a story of a man, and sometimes in my previous life, I was, a lawyer. Please forgive me. God forgive me for I know not what I do. But anyway, I still kind of watch, some of the trials that, synopsis. It was a big one. I was thinking, I don't know where it was, Texas or somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it was in the Northeast. Anyway, but it reminded me of a man who years ago was put in prison for a crime he did not do. And he was extremely upset, as you can imagine. In the first 5 years he was there, he just knew that they were going to find out there was a mistake. And they would just come in, unlock the doors, and let him out. And it never happened. And he had a lot of anger. He had a lot of resentment. He had a lot of negative energy that was just emanating from him. And so the first 5 years of his sentence, he was figuring they were going to let him out, and it never did happen. And then all of a sudden, the 5th year, something happened in him. He decided to look in the mirror, look within himself, and to eradicate within his own soul anything and any condition that had led to anything like this happening to him. Being set up by the authorities. So after he started doing that for the next 12 years, he worked on himself. So at that moment, he became a free man, even though he began to flourish. His art began to flourish. Free man. And then when he walked out with a Buddha smile on his face. They were responding and reacting to all the things that were going on in their life that didn't really mean. Anyway, when he got out, he learned to help other people who were going through time. He was free. And that story helped change. And that's let God be God in us. We're here to reveal the face. And then we reveal our purpose through our unique gifts, through our talents. So we want to ask questions such as, what is God's idea of itself for me, through me? And I think when we ask questions like that, we begin to catch glimpses, we begin to catch insights, we begin to catch signs in response. And what we don't want to do, we end up getting answers from what I call the database of the human experience that reflects humanity's disconnection from its source, which is the presence of God. That's why I always say is never, ever talk about how bad things are. how bad things are with anyone unless you're trying to get an agreement to change awareness, leadership. And there's a chapter that talks about them when we, rather than, complain about things that come up in our life, flip it and say, this is an invitation for us to do more, be more, and express more. It is a message from the universe to say there's more in you to be expressed. And I think this approach is potent. Bad things are in our life, in the state of affairs, in our world, whenever it may be. Unless we're trying to get an agreement behind the truth, behind the idea, behind the appearance, behind the potential that the universe is working for our good, but we have to open up ourselves to doing is exacerbating the appearances of separation. We're buying into old fear-based beliefs and decisions and ultimately denigrating our life so that we cannot reveal more of that heaven. We will not have that heaven today. And I'll take 21 days and say, I am not going to complain for 21 days in a row. I said I was going to do that, and as soon as I walked out the door, I started complaining. I said, this is impossible. I cannot do this. But it's forming itself. Now, I know a lot of people, in order to get through this period of time, they would probably have to go through 21 days of silence. But that's okay, too. Whatever it takes not to have the complaint come out of your mouth. Understand, in that state, we get clarity of what our purpose is in that particular situation that we're facing. We get to understand where we are, but where we can ask ourselves, what is it that we are here to become in consciousness? What qualities must I embody? We become invested in being rather than doing. After all, we're human beings. It didn't say we're human doings. We're human beings first. We got to get things in the right sequence. We be who we are. Then we do what we're here to do. Then we begin to have what it is that we're here to have. But many people have it backwards. But we can never have what we're not willing to become first in our own awareness or consciousness. That's impossible. Unless we earn something by way of consciousness, even if we get something good, we'll lose it because we're not in the right conscious. Great partner, but we may lose it because we have not earned it by right of consciousness. We have not become it first. And then we begin to lose it. And then there's the final in God line for transformation for today, which kind of goes in the same line that is, I think, the most important, the most powerful. And that, of course, is prayer. I think prayer is the greatest because we want to be part of our prayer. Because whenever we're facing a challenge, whenever we're facing a situation that we do not like, we never want to take the challenge or the circumstance into the prayer. We don't want to take those circumstances into the prayer. Those are just our mental way of seeing. Because, what we want to do is really, prayer does what it does, in my view. It has an impression on our subconscious mind. That's what we want to do. We want to change that. I know Garland Lander talked a little about this last week, and I know his workshop was about that, which sets our life. Because a lot of people, they'll, maybe light their incense and their candles and put on their headdress, spin around a few times and begin their prayer. And, they're all into the prayer. And then all of a sudden they go right back to the problem. But as an individual problem, it only knows divine and perfect spiritual solutions, and we want to keep our energy on that. So we want to go to that secret place of the Most High, that place of infinite possibilities. No longer thinking about circumstances and just get real in that quiet place. And understand when we go there, there's emptiness there. That's what they call the promised land. That's written about sometimes in the Bible. There's nothing there. That's why they call it the promised land, because there's nothing there to obstruct it. There's nothing there that's blocking it. So we go into what they call the void. We begin to allow the God presence to speak to us about possibilities, and we say yes to those possibilities. So we say yes to our good. We say yes to our health and wholeness. We say yes to our spiritual abundance. So just say to yourself on each and every day, I say yes to my good. We can say it right now. I say yes to my good. I say yes to health. I say yes to spiritual abundance. and you say it right now. You don't have to wait for it to happen. Everything begins to be revealed. The invisible becomes visible. So here's the key to effectual prayer to transform our subconscious. Understand when it comes to prayer, the feeling is everything. Ideas are impressed on our subconscious through the medium of feeling. No idea can be expressed on the subconscious until it is felt. You know, there's a tip I always say that if you want to feel a new vision associated with some positive event that has taken place in your life that you really feel strongly about. You know, I think about the time that I had my experience to be there. And it had an emotional impact that like nothing else in my life. So if I associate what I want or what I envision, what God has in store for me with that, it has feeling. You feel it deep within you. And once the idea is felt, and an idea can be good, bad, or indifferent, or conveyed to our subconscious mind. As I like to say, and to remember this, you know, they used to say, don't mean a thing unless you got that swing. I always say, if it don't mean a thing unless you got that feeling. You gotta feel it. That's guideline number 3. Pray knowing that the feeling is everything. You know, as I close out today, we were reminded that, you know, as our community, we're here to transform lives, to make a positive difference in the world. And as we sit in our little room, a graphic representation of what God is everywhere. And as we transform in our little space where we are, as we make a positive difference in the part of the universe where we are simultaneously transforming the entire world because we're integrated and connected mystically and quantum impact everything else around us. In other words, as I am lifted up, I bring all others unto that same state of consciousness. So we do it by practicing guidelines. We practice the garland work. We learn the classes. We meditate. We commune with the Spirit of the living God on a regular basis. Make it happen. But we create the conditions that we make it welcome. We create the conditions to make the result inevitable. And you'll look back now and then and see how far Spirit has taken you. And you say, oh my God, that used to be me. You look at those old pictures in your phone, you say, delete them. That's what happened, I think, with Nicodemus when he looked at Jesus and his friends. He saw his own being and he wanted to have it for himself. We begin to activate it because those that see us will begin to see the God that we worship. So we need not try to convert others by waking up early in the morning or knocking on doors and saying, follow this way. Instead, you let your light so shine before men and women that they see the presence of God within you. And they knock on your door and they say, what happened to you? They follow you around. They say, wait a minute, you had some challenges last year. You had some illnesses. What happened? You know, you had some financial cratering in your life last year, and now you're smiling. What happened? I heard that there were some challenges and tragedies in your life, in your family's life, but you're still standing. What happened? Understand, when we have that transformation, we get to glow with the presence of God. We want to consciously participate in our own growth and transformation process. That we need not try to convert. All we need to do is glow. All we need to do is radiate. All we need to do is live our life, and they will drop their tools and they'll follow you to Spiritual Life Center. And we get to announce to all and sundry that life is magnificent because life is God and God is good. And we spread that energy all over the planet as we practice these God lines for transformation. Peace and blessings to you. Rising to the Light by Reverend Deborah. So be there, be square, as they like to say. You know, bring her special talents that she has, so we're looking forward to that. For those who are online, and, you know, we can spread the news of Spiritual Life Center with your support. And all you button on slcworld.org, and they'll give you other ways that you can give, including by mail. Always expanding good. And let's say our offertory, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I
I shine so bright, I illuminate the darkness, and I illuminate the darkness. There are times with me when I drop into that source of love in my light. I shine so bright. I shine so bright. I illuminate the darkness. My soul. Every day's an opportunity to shine. And my light. I shine so bright. I shine so bright. I illuminate the darkness, and you, the darkness, and you are a light. You shine so bright, we shine so bright, we illuminate the darkness, and we are a light. We shine. I shine so bright. I shine so bright. I illuminate the darkness, and this, and
You are the light. Ye are the light. We are the light. Let's take this moment to bless those who have. The receivers blessed, but even those who give are blessed as well. For that's the nature of the universal law, that whatever you give out comes back to you here. Those are online to help us spread the word of possibilities for the human spirit and anchor a little bit more of expanding good, or also know. We affirm that prayer has already been answered because they've already provided the answer on the spiritual level. For this presence that we know God already knows the answer before we know what the prayer need is. As that statement goes, before they call, I have already answered you. So our job is simply to raise our energy to be with the one presence, the one power, the one reality. And as we do, we simply take our hands off of it and let seeming miracles happen. And so we're grateful and thankful that the prayer has been answered perhaps in ways we never imagined, or to simply learn from the experience so that we can be the very best that we are here to be. We're grateful and thankful for this. And with that, let us join in as we affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. I am. And all is well. Let's sing our peace song. and blessings to you. Have a great week and stick around for the postlude.
Yes.
Music.
Yes. We lost a jazz great this week. Wayne Shorter passed away on Thursday. I don't know if you follow jazz, but he was just a phenomenal legend, composer, philosophical thinker. He's been around for decades, and so we're going to do a Wayne Shorter tribute, Night Dreamer.